All right, so back with the Toybota. I know I'm stuck on this truck right now. It has been years since I've done an extended build project, but I'm having a lot of fun with this, and I see the potential to cross the pond. If everybody had a chance to check out the Maiden Voyage, you'll see the type of adventure we had that day, and you'll see that I also had some things that I wanted to repair. It was uncanny how many things actually turned out to be like the first Toybota episode with the Toyota Hilux being used. Right up to the point where we were leaking, taking on water, I was having propulsion problems straight through, but we made it back. We were able to make it back to shore with these tires. I did order 1.9 size paddle tires for the future because I do want to do a test to see if paddle tires will actually make a difference over just regular treaded tires. I wonder if it'll make such a huge difference that it'll be even noticeable. The other issue I thought I had was with the outboard motor, and it was that I thought I was getting water inside the motor, but after reviewing the video while I was editing, I don't think I got any water inside this electric motor anyway, and it shouldn't make a difference because it's a sensorless, brushless motor, which should be able to run inside submerged water, no problem at all. So I thought to myself, it must have been an ESC problem, like maybe I was getting a problem underneath the seat here where I put in the electronic speed control and I was having some water issues there, and it wasn't. And so I thought to myself, what could it be? And it must have been something that I've done, and it was. I missed out on one of the most common mistakes that I could have made for running multiple ESCs, and that's when I was running an ESC just for the truck itself. That was being plugged into the receiver. When I ran the ESC for the motor and I plugged that into the receiver, I forgot to unplug the red wire. Now, the red wire from this ESC into the receiver itself is a power lead, which is designed to power the receiver itself. Because I was getting power from the other electronic speed control running the truck, I think what I was doing was canceling out this ESC once it warmed up. So I have rewired it. I took the red wire out of this one and left the black wire, the negative signal wire, and the white signal wire for the radio control command, left that in place in the receiver and just removed the red. Now, there's one more thing I want to talk about, and we'll go over that other stuff in a moment. But the other thing I had a problem with was my back tray was actually leaking. Just like the original Toybota, I was starting to take on water from the back. I had thought, well, that's where it was starting to collect, at least back here. Let me move this hose out of the way. Back here, everything was, I noticed when I first started floating that the truck was actually a little lopsided, and that didn't make sense because I had done a float test prior, but I was excited and got out onto the pond there to do the quote channel crossing for you guys, and I didn't realize that what was happening was I had a leak that was letting water in through the bottom. Here is a Windex bottle, right? This thing is quite long, and I want to get into the weight of how much this truck is. But the reason I want to bring that up is if I had a hole in the tray with the weight of this truck, even with the pontoons that are on here, it was forcing water up into the tray, and of course that's how we started taking on water. So multiple problems I should say. One was the wiring issue, second was the leak issue. So I got the battery cable hanging down there. What else did I learn about this? Well, the Maiden Voyage was an epic time, to be sure. A lot of people were talking about the pitch of the actual motor or the placement of these pontoons. Now, if you actually watch the BUiLD series or you had been following along in the series, you'll know that I actually had the pontoons level just like Jeremy Clarkson did in the second attempt at his car boat challenge, which was the Nissan, and they were actually level, mounted up on bars, and they could actually flip up and be deployed. Well, I actually have put these in on a little bit of an angle, and you'll see the way it's actually floating in the video itself actually has the back tray of the truck quite higher than the other one where Jeremy was in. And a lot of people mention the pitch. The reason I have the pitch and the pontoons the way I have them now was for when the boat is being thrust forward, of course, it's pushing this whole truck bed down. Now I only have, what is that, like 1.5 inches of clearance there? So it's a very, very, it looks like 2.5 inches from here, but just the tray is much smaller. When that gets pushed down and the water line is riding right about here, there is a fine line in throttle control. In the second episode of Top Gear, when Jeremy is actually crossing the channel to beat Beardy Branson's time over to France there, you'll notice that they joked about the speed of their boat because they couldn't really change the velocity. They had a constant velocity. I don't know how many knots they were actually traveling. I think they did mention it, but when they were joking about it, they made it quite inflated. But you'll notice that the Nissan actually doesn't move that much faster the entire journey. So that's the secret. Because this bow, because the stern, pardon me, is pushed down from the outboard motor, this bow actually rises. Now, you don't want it to actually have too much thrust pushing this under the water, but at the same time, you can't have this too low, because what happens is the water will start coming over the top, right? Normally I have this isn't mounted properly right now. It's a little bit high up there because it's not on the posts, but you'll see in the video I actually have this taped off. Now this, even at this height, this would be a little bit better because I would have an upslope instead of just flat against the nose and over here. So you really have a fine line of plowing the water or being too aggressive and having the back tray go underwater, which you want to avoid at all costs. That is why I have the outboard there. And we'll do some tests in the future to kind of show you guys the differences in how that's changed around. But I wanted to give you an update on the things that I had learned. Hopefully you're following along with what I had just said. I know it's a little bit on the crazy side. I am totally infatuated with seeing this actually cross over. I did change over the water release area, even though I kept it right here. This is the water cooling. It comes up through the back, around the motor jacket, out through the ESC under the seat, and out through the side with the hot water. I did add an extra spout so we can actually get it farther away from the boat. We don't have to worry about anything trickling back in there. Yeah, what can I say? I just want to mention, in case you guys don't know, in the last episode when I was doing the Maiden, I actually used the large piece of foam board under the back bed to give me the extra lift. Plus I added in a huge piece of pool noodle there that also helped give me lift. All of the cab is full of foam. These are full, this canister here and this canister here, both locked on, one to the chassis, one to the top body, filled with foam and sealed air. So we have plenty of flotation. Let's talk about what I've added extra. And of course, to overcome, you guys have noticed I moved this hose out of the way. I didn't have that there last time. It's cut on a bit of an angle there. I'm going to put that down right in the corner. So any water that gets put into this back bed is going to be automatically pumped out. Jeremy Clarkson style, I went huge on the pump. In fact, this pump right here has an inlet and an outlet that goes to this fire cannon. Now I'm going to attach it a little better here, but this is really just to shoot the water that is in the back tray away from the truck. Who remembers the fire rescue boat video I did with my son? So many people saw that video, about 8.5 million people, but guys, this is not the fire rescue boat. That is actually my very first one. The one I did with my son is safe and sound right there. But this one I had in the beginning that I lost the top on, I was able to take the fire cannon off of it, take the pump out of that, and repurpose it to the Toybota right here. So now I have an enormous pump on there, which really doesn't add a whole bunch of weight, but will allow me to remove any water that's in the tray. How will I be able to see if there's water in the tray? Well, I won't really be able to unless I put in a first-person view system with long range on there, which is possible, but I will be able to tell by the way the truck is listing. Okay, I just put a couple of zip ties on the front bumper here, just so I didn't add too much weight. Out on the fish scale, let's see what we got. 13, 12, 12.13 pounds. So that's quite a bit to have to float in the water, especially with a very small base, right? Kind of looks like the Starship Enterprise. Ugh. Of course, this project is complete rubbish. It's totally Top Gear style, of course. You know, and I think it's hilarious just to see how heavy it is, to see if we can actually get it to cross that half a kilometer of pond water. That pond itself, I gotta say, is just over 25 feet deep. So quite a bit. I'm glad we got the pump on there. There is a point of no return though, where this back end starts to fill up so much with water that it's just going to go under the surface line, and a pump is just not going to help. But if I catch it in time, and because I have a variable speed pump right here set up on the radio, I might as well like demonstrate it for you here since I haven't tested it either. Speaking of which, check it out. This is why I have this lid off, okay? So for this pump to run, and to pump this water out of the truck, I also need a separate electronic speed control to run it. Now, I have it right here, which is right beside the truck speed control, so that equals 3 ESCs. 3 batteries, 1 battery right here that's independent and runs the LED bar at the top. Is it necessary? Completely not. This is in excess, and that's why I'm being silly, right? I could make this so much lighter, but this is an actual trail truck that I would take out there, go trailing with, you know, and plus then I can go into the water if I choose and cross the river in the most ludicrous way. They are sealed bead locks for the people that said, could you put air in your tires? The answer is yes. There they are, already sealed. Let's like I said, plug it in. I'm going to show you how everything works, and we'll move on from there. Okay, just to show you how the pump works, there is a red and a black wire that come through the body. I drilled it through yesterday. It's mounted with the black and the red wire and can be detached if I want to take the whole lid off. So what I'm going to do is just plug in the pump motor for you right now. So with both of those wires connected, it comes down to a separate ESC, which is just the small ESC that I grabbed from the fire rescue boat. That is sitting right beside the original truck electronic speed control that I put in. And because they're so close together and the pump ESC is really not drawing a lot of power most of the time, I just simply harnessed it into the main truck battery. Okay, here is the radio. Really simple. On this side, I've got the 2-stage transmission, which is high and low. I can show you on this side, even though I could switch it to this side, I may, just to make this high and low. But forward on this side is up and down, back to forward again. It's in high gear right now. Switch it to low gear, forward and backward, and then of course, left and right, left and right. Same with the outboard on this side, it is left and right, and of course forward throttle. It can stay at a constant velocity because this side is not on a spring. This side does have an adjustable spring, just to let you know. I won't run that too long because it is water dependent on the cooling system. So there you go, and on this side here is the lever for the pump, which is also variable speed. So what I'm going to do is dump some water in the back. We will have a little bit of a leak because I haven't attached the back screw down to the post to make the seal there, but not a big deal. We'll get a good idea of how quickly that pump gets the water out. I've never done this before, so I'm excited. I want to see how quickly we can empty out the back here. Okay, Now, in theory, the hose for the pump is at the lowest corner. This is where I saw it leaning on one side. Now, I should have it right in the middle, but of course, I was a dummy and sealed up this area so I can't get to it without breaking that seal. But I'm happy to leave it as is and just have it on one side because it only comes forward a short bit until both sides are full anyway. So with all batteries and everything plugged in, I'm going to go ahead and dump in the water. Going on to both sides there. So this is actually quite a bit. One whole bottle. Let's see, let's get the pump started. 3, 2, 1. Look at this, holy cow. It's shooting right over to the skid steer. Nice job. Getting rid of the water in the back. Almost empty. Still shooting out. That is just too cool. So emptying it out almost to the bottom and no pressure left. So the only bad thing with that is that I lose a prime, right? Like I was moving the cable around, and one of the things that I noticed is that if this loses prime, then it has a hard time turning back on. So I definitely want to figure out a way to keep water in this. Maybe I need a primer bulb or something like that. I'll have to figure that out. A few of the viewers asked if I could actually take this radio antenna and move it over and have it running up the snorkel, which I think is an amazing idea. And yes, I could do that, but I actually have, the way I had it pre-cut out in the foam already, was put right in the middle. But yeah, that could be cool. I could relocate it over here and run it up the spout. That would be pretty neat. Tried to keep most things center overall. Even though you see that this part here is a little heavy on this side, we're actually running the battery more staggered on this side. So being the LiPo, it actually offsets everything nicely to the middle of the truck right there. Some of the viewers' questions included things like the bow. Instead of pushing the water, why not make a V on the front to cut through the water and slice? And I agree, I could totally do that, but just keeping in tribute to the Top Gear series, I didn't want to put a bow on the front like Richard Hammond's van. I wanted to kind of keep it close. Now, if you looked at the first Hilux, we didn't get a look at the underside of the Nissan, but the first Hilux actually had a skid plate that went from the front bumper all the way to the back, and it actually came to a bit of a bow in the middle, which was very interesting. And yes, I do like this though. You'll see it does angle itself as we go, and as it does float in the water already, and since the nose gets pushed up, it does tend to want to float on top of the water, which is very nice. I do notice it. Overall, I think the truck itself is fantastic. There are a few things I need to learn about, like how to keep that pump primed. If you guys have an idea on how to do that, please leave it in the video comment section down below. I don't want to have any water back here, or at least a very little amount, right? Like I understand some is gonna have to be back there, but I want to remove the ½ inch that remained. Jeremy Clarkson, if you're watching this, man, do I ever understand the challenges you guys had trying to get this thing to float. Normally you do it in model scale to see if you can do it in full size. This time we did it the other way around. You did it full size. I'm trying to see if I can do it in model scale. Here is the outboard motor that is supposed to represent the 225 horsepower Honda engine he had there. This thing weighs a lot, right? It's all alloy on here, a ton of weight the way I have it set up on the back. Jeremy, I understand you wanted to have 2 of these on here for power. but the Toybota, you know, like you said in the show, the water line just won't accept it. So I do have it very close to how you guys had it in both shows. I definitely think a constant velocity on the throttle will help me make it across the pond. Definitely let me know what you guys think of this whole project. I know it's harebrained. I know it's just completely, as Jeremy says, complete rubbish, but I've just had such a good time on it. Are you guys still with me? I know I'm stuck on it. Are you stuck on it with me? Let me know in the video comment section down below. Like, comment, subscribe. You know the deal, guys. Now get outside and have fun with the hobby of RC. And until next time, we'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.